Yes. Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to your Tuesday evening. I am Luz Michelle. I am your host for this motherfucking Tuesday. And tonight, you are all going to experience the very next installment of Hard Headed Comedy Presents Still Standing Monologues. Yes, I might not be physically standing, but I promise you, I am still motherfucking standing. We all are tonight. So thank you for showing up. That's really sweet. It's like, it's Tuesdays still count, right? I feel like they still count. They have to count. We need a Tuesday and we need to laugh. So live comedy is returning, it's returning, but there's something about this like underground comedy world. I'm still going to do it for a minute. So don't worry. We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. So a lot of things are happening in the news, right? But there's also some holidays happening, right? The news is there. The news ain't going anywhere. But I don't know if a lot of people know, but today is National Star Wars Day. Does everybody know that? I didn't know that. I've only seen the first one. I know. I come from a family where they've seen every episode and they know lines from it and they'll have private conversations in front of me and I'm very not in. The only thing I really can say about Star Wars is that Jabba the Hutt still triggers me. He really does. He triggers me in a way that is, it's not okay. I see him. I saw him on the screen and my kids were watching it and I felt disgust. I felt like I had to act out. I felt like I had to explain to my kids how disgusting this thing is. Very triggered. And today is also National Renewal Day. National Renewal Day. I'm going to read this little passage I saw about it. So, National Renewal Day is the state of being made new, feeling fresh and strong again. It's the state of being renewed. So today is the restart button. We're restarting new. Because we do. Number one, it's been a hell of a year, right? Like for everyone around the world, right? Whoever thought that would happen? But we need to renew. I've been trying to think like these past couple of months, like what can I do to just be like fresher? What can I do to like, come out of this just a little more wiser? So I started doing Reiki. I've always been very drawn to it. I've read books on it. I've read articles on it, but there was a part of me that was like, it's not real, So it's like, if I have that thought, I'm not going to have the experience that you're supposed to have, right? Right. But I was a hop and a skip and away from like hiring a spiritual life coach. Like I was going down that rabbit hole that I'm like, I need this, I need guidance. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a mess, the whole nine. And then I stopped myself and said, before I do that kind of thing, I'm going to give Reiki a shot. And I love it. I've done 3 sessions. I guess it kind of falls under renewal because I just feel like what I needed was I just needed energy shifted. Like that's all I needed. I didn't need to talk to a therapist. I didn't need a self-help book. I didn't need to make a vision board. I didn't need to fucking go outside and breathe. Like I just needed to shift. That's it. That's all. I'm just releasing, you guys. Something I saw in the news today, though, that I always get a good giggle out of was about a woman. She was on her way to Hawaii and she gave birth to a baby on the plane. Now, the thing is, she didn't know she was pregnant. She didn't know she was pregnant. She just didn't know. Like when they interviewed her, she's like, I didn't know. I just didn't know. How do you not know? How do you not know? I had 2 kids. I was obese both times. You know if there's something inside of you. Like, I don't get it. Like, and she didn't go that full term, but there are women who have gone full term and have given birth to like 12-pound babies. And they're like, I didn't know. Like your body goes through so many changes physically and mentally that it blows out your imagination. Like, I don't believe for one fucking second this woman's areolas didn't become the size of beef, like those beef patties. Like, these things happen. And then when you ask them, there was a show back in the day on TLC called I Didn't Know I Was Pregnant. And some of these girls, when they interviewed them, they said, I thought it was gas. Gas? Gas? What the fuck are you eating? No, that's not gas. That's like a head and a kidney and a foot and an immune system. What's the matter with you? Oh, God. I get so triggered. I get so triggered. But I can understand not knowing in the beginning parts. Like, I didn't know. I had no idea I was with my daughter. And when the doctor like looked at me and he told me like, there's nothing wrong with you, you're pregnant. It was just like, oh, okay, cool. No, it's nothing else. You know, like, you didn't see anything else in there. And it's like, you get nervous, right? You get these fucking things running through your head. But everything turned out fine. My kids are fine. Everyone's fine. We're all fine. Not many people know the true definition of fine. It actually stands for fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and empty. So remember that next time you tell someone you're fine. They might be like, whoa, why do you say that? And it's like, I kind of explained everything. Like, I kind of explained where I'm at. All right, you guys, there's something that happens like that's kind of maddening when you do the monologues because I don't hear anything. I don't have people there, people alive. I don't know. So I'm going to bring in our absolutely marvelous lineup and we're going to start to like do shit. So you guys, please put your hands together for Miss Sarah Hartshorn. I have such dry mouth. I am so sorry. Sarah Hartshorn. Nancy, Amy, James, and Carolyn Bergier. Hello, ladies. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Happy Tuesday.
Pre-hump day.
Pre-hump day. That's a good way to look at it. That's a real good way to look at it.
Makes it so much more bearable that way.
Yeah, right? Like gives you a little bit of hope to go on to the next day. You know? Like, actually, all right, I'll stick it out for another day. Let's see what's going on here. Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming on. And thank you for everybody that's tuning in. We're going to start to move the train a little bit because why not? And besides, I can't hold all this energy back. All right, you guys. I want you to get your mind ready. Get your body ready. Let everything go because no matter what's happening, it's still going to happen after the show. So why not put it on pause for a minute? And get your hands together for Miss Sarah Hartshorn.
Oh, hello. Oh my gosh. This is so exciting. I feel like Luz was talking about Reiki and how we're all renewing. I feel like everyone has one weird thing that we got into in the last year that like was way wooier than we thought. You know, we all wooed a little more wooey. Like I'm not into horoscopes, but I do love talking about myself. So I will 100% get into it with my friends. I will be like, yes, I am an Aries with a, oh, I always forget the rising. Never mind. But like, I love acupuncture. Like, I don't know. I take weird herbs. Like I'm into the wooey shit. I got vaccinated about a month ago. BMI, not too bad. Yeah, your girl is thick. Your girl is like, get vaccinated early, thick. And a lot of people were upset that people with high BMIs got the vaccine early. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I thought you were concerned about our health. Y'all commented on my Instagram post saying you were concerned about my health, looking out for my health. So I did get vaccinated. And then I went to Costa Rica to just hole up in a house there because I was like, you know what? Maybe it was the renewal. I was like prepping for renewing, you know. And I just got back and I am sad. I'm real bummed about it. But I am kind of relieved because the place where we were staying was apparently like just smack dab in the middle of two influencer villages, which that's just a real bummer of a sentence. That exists. There were like little hives of influencers just like running around. I saw 3 people doing the same pose on the beach at the same time. Like I had no idea that there was like a pose that you're supposed to do at sunset. I'm taking your photo. It was a real bummer. Also, they all had abs and they all had the same butt. And I just thought, we all agreed to get weird and fat over quarantine, and they were not upholding their end of the bargain, like they were prison ripped. And I've been working on getting rid of my neck. We did not see eye to eye, and I was upset. I was like, okay, I think I need to do a little murder. The only thing keeping me from doing a little murder as a treat is social distancing. I thought we were all going to get fat and weird, man. I don't know. And then, so I've been back for a couple days. I put on a bra for the first time, totally threw off my balance. Okay. And then I was on the subway and I knocked into the pole and almost into a woman. And she had the nerve to give me a look that I could see through her mask. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm sorry, is that judgment in this economy? Couldn't be me. No judgment. Okay. The world is a judgment-free zone. I thought we agreed. I made eye contact with a man shitting into a plastic bag on 7th Avenue the other day. You know what I said? Nothing, because he was wearing a mask. That's not my business. This is New York. Please don't say nothing. Say nothing. It's not your business. We're getting weird. Thought we agreed. Really not. I don't know. It's just, I did gain a little weight during quarantine. Apparently the average is 29 pounds and your girl is above average. So, but I did a really cute new cleanse recently. It's called a colonoscopy. Heard of it? Anyone? Yes. Okay. I will say this. A lot of people have said that they want to get up in my guts, and none of them have the follow through of Dr. Metzger. Okay. None of them. All right. She really gave me the what for, and I dressed up. I dressed up for my colonoscopy because my mom always taught me that you should clean up and dress up when you have someone up your butt. And I really tried to honor that. Yeah. I know what you're thinking, oh, Sarah, you look way too young to have a colonoscopy. Thank you. I'm Jewish. Thank you. Great tits, and then it all goes downhill. That's what that means to me spiritually. That's what being a Jew is, okay? I don't know. The weight thing is weird, right? It's confusing. I think especially because I used to be a model. That's what I used to do for a living. And it feels like a million years ago because it was. It has been long enough that if I don't wear makeup, people don't believe me. And it's gotten to the point where when people who are hotter than I am find out that I used to model, they get really mad, but they don't want to say anything. So they just kind of go on a weird loop, They're like, oh, what kind of model? And that's fair, that's a fair question. I was a plus size model. I was actually on America's Next Top Model, and I was a plus size contestant. And I worked for many years doing plus size catalogs. Then I quit modeling, gained a bunch of weight, and became a plus size person. Weird how those aren't the same thing. It's so weird. That's such a weird thing. I was on America's Next Top Model, and people ask me all the time, oh, what was the hardest part? And I don't think that they're really ready for the answer, because if I am honest, the hardest part was that like we were being filmed 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. From the time we woke up to before we woke up, they filmed us in our sleep. And the only time they didn't film us was when we were in the shower or in the bathroom, which was a very small stall. And I don't know how to masturbate standing up. Okay. That was the longest 6 weeks of my life. I almost died. Also, people ask me all the time, they're like, oh, Sarah, do you miss modeling? And I don't miss it at all. Like, not for 1 second. What I do miss is attention. It's my favorite thing. But luckily I can do that doing this. So that's great. It's also like, I don't know, top model is like becoming kind of, sort of becoming a thing. And so like people are watching it again, I guess. And so people have been asking me about it a lot. And I started a TikTok, which I'm super into. I don't know if anyone else is on TikTok, but I'm obsessed. I love it so much. I spend all day on TikTok, and then I cook a meal that I learned how to make on TikTok. It's not good. It's not great. It's a disconnect. I should renew, as it were, and be a healthier person. But I'm also very lucky because I have gotten to work from home, and my husband is also working from home, and I am married. And I don't know if anyone else has been in a relationship like throughout, like before, during, and now as we are emerging from quarantine. But I just feel like we're so lucky. We're so lucky that we haven't murdered each other. Not once, not even one time. And I would like a cookie for that. I think I deserve that. It's always like, I don't know, the grass is always greener, right? That's what the situation is. Single people want to be in a relationship. Relationships, we want to be single. But like what I always like to tell my single friends is like, you get to masturbate whenever you want, while I am furiously rubbing one out while my husband poops. He gets constipated. I want to kill myself. It's terrible. And it's not even about, I still love having sex with him. I love it. But that's not what it's about, right? It's not about having sex. It's about murdering your own vagina, rolling over, going to sleep after you eat some mac and cheese in bed. That's what it's about, And I don't want to be judged for that. Because this is a no judgment zone. I think I'm gonna leave it at that. It's a no judgment zone. You're all amazing. Thank you so much.
Here we go. Give it up for Miss Sarah Lachlan. Yes, she was in America's Next Top Model, and you have to follow her on TikTok. It's pretty amazing. Like, she made a wig with her bare hands that you can put a cupcake in. I mean, that's it. She's like a superwoman. I mean, come on. I break down the other day because I had to sew my daughter's her pet dog that she sleeps with. The leash broke. I'm like, fucking shit. He's like this small. Like, calm down. Yeah, and then I see like your videos, and like you're making wigs, and I'm like, I'm a monster.
Go though.
Oh man, and yeah, TikTok. I'm with you, Sarah. I am fucking obsessed. It's like when my kids ask me, like, can we do TikTok? I'm like, yeah. And I sit in the middle of both of them and we just scroll, and they're like, heart that. I'm like, okay.
That's a good reason to have kids, honestly.
What?
That's a good reason to have kids, is for the TikToks.
Right. During the quarantine, though, she didn't understand why we couldn't do a family dance video together. What, are you fucking kidding me? We can't get through breakfast without everyone like yelling at each other, someone dropping the F-bomb. You want to choreograph? Yeah? No.
That's fair.
Not today, okay? Today's saying. All right, you guys. It is time for your next comedian. She is a regular at the New York City clubs, and she's the co-host of the Hot Flash podcast and the producer of the off-Broadway show, The Housewives of Shoekakis. I want you to know, I typed that into Google. I played it over 15 times. Shoekakis. What a drag. Please welcome to the stage Miss Nancy Levine.
Hi, everyone. Hey, Luz, I gotta call you out on that. Only you could fuck up the word sea caucus. It's not sea
No, that's not what Google said.
Get
Google
your mind
did
out
not
of the
say
gutter.
sea. They didn't.
Speaking of gutter, I have huge areolas and I'm not pregnant. So there you go. There you go. I just thought I'd start with something awkward just to make everybody feel very uncomfortable.
I'm
So, so anyway, I think there's a lot. I've been married for a really, really long time, and I'm going through the change, which means I sweat a lot at night. The other night, my husband came into bed, touched me, said, ew, and asked me if I peed myself. That's when you know the romance is over. Yeah. Do you guys watch that show, Love Island? Well, anyway, it was on during the pandemic. It's a show about where the 24 20-year-olds are put on an island. And the whole thing is that they have to hook up. And after they hook up, they have to decide if they're going to stay with that person or hook up with somebody else. And the person who doesn't hook up is kicked off the island. It's kind of like a Survivor for nymphomaniacs. I mean, these people have more sex in 10 episodes than I've had in 10 years. And then whoever wins at the end gets $100,000. But you know what I want to see? I want to see a show called Married Island. Only on this island, nobody hooks up. Not with each other, not with anybody else. And the whole thing is that the person who avoids seeing or talking to their husband or wife the longest wins $100,000. Now, that's a show I want to see because I could really use the $100,000. So, anyway, when you've been married this long, who even thinks about sex? But these days in this climate, I don't even tell my husband I'm not in the mood. I just say that his erection is canceled. Because you can do that nowadays, right? You don't like something, you cancel it. You don't like the name of a football team? Canceled. You don't like a cartoon character? Canceled. My husband's Woody pressed up against my back at 1:30 in the morning? Canceled. I mean, they're canceling everything anyway, right? They canceled Pepe Le Pew. Come on, give the guy a break. Do you know how hard it is to get laid when you smell like a French skunk? He's got to put in a little extra effort just to get some. I mean, he's just going about it all wrong, you know? Instead of chasing her around, he should just pull up next to her in a Lamborghini, wearing a diamond-studded Rolex. That cat would be sticking a clothespin on her nose and blowing him before he got out of the car. So anyway, I teach. Why? Because I fucking hate myself. Okay, everybody calm down. I said substitute, not prostitute. There's a big difference between the two. I mean, hear me out. One is a demeaning, dead-end career that destroys your soul. The other is prostitution. So anyway, they wanted me to teach this second grade class. In second grade, you think, wow, that's going to be so much fun. Those kids are so cute, 7 and 8-year-olds. Wrong. 27 Adderall-laced monsters who would stab you in the eye with a crayon for a fruit roll-up. They wanted me to teach the new Common Core math. One problem, I don't know Common Core math. Well, I had to read the textbook, which really pisses me off because I didn't take this job to fucking learn anything. I've already done all my learning. How many different kinds of math do we need? So let me ask you guys something. What's 8 plus 5? Nobody fucking knows. Okay, I know what class you were in school.
13.
Very good. Thank you. Thanks for playing along. Oh, the support of these women, it's just oozing. It's oozing. But no, that's wrong. The Common Core math, they want you to break down the 5 to make the 8 a 10, and then you got to figure out how many more it takes to make the 8 a 10, which is 2. You take the 2 from the 5, which is 3, add that back to the 2, which is 5, and then you add it to the 8, which makes 13. Isn't that easier than adding 8 plus 5? It was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, and I've given birth 3 times. I was drinking wine out of a juice box at 10:30 a.m. Anyway, so it's lunchtime, and one of the little boys starts crying because somebody stole his pretzels. Well, who would steal pretzels out of a little boy's lunchbox? Well, listen, somebody forgot to bring a snack, and I needed something to absorb the alcohol. So he's standing there crying, and I'm like, oh, there, should I make nice? But then I'm like, no, these kids are disgusting, what with their snotting and their coughing and their COVID. And knowing my luck, I'd make nice and then get arrested for inappropriate touching. I'd get pink eye and a lawsuit. So I did what anybody would do. I gave him one of my special juice boxes, and he quieted right down. During this pandemic, I actually got my real estate license and started selling houses because, believe it or not, my money from stand-up is not paying the bills. And something weird happened to me the other day. One of the clients whose house I'm trying to sell calls me. So I answer, and she's sobbing, and she's bitching, and she's going off on a tangent about how terrible her life is. She's depressed, her kids are bothering her, her mother's giving her shit, her husband's an asshole. Obviously, she meant to dial a friend of hers, but called me instead. So she's going on for several minutes, and I haven't said a word yet. She hadn't stopped talking long enough to tell me that she dialed the wrong number. And besides, it was kind of nice hearing that somebody's life is worse than mine. Then I started thinking maybe she meant to call me, that she wanted to tell all this to somebody who wasn't close to her. Hey, listen, if it'll get me a commission on the house, I'll let her lay on my couch once a week and tell me about how she wasn't hugged as a child. But I decided that probably wasn't the case, mostly because she kept calling me Carol. But I still felt an obligation to make sure she didn't commit suicide, because if she killed herself in that house, I'd have a really hard time reselling it. Finally, she takes a breath and there's silence. So I did what any responsible person would do. I said, okay, good luck, and hung up. And that was it. So anyway, back in the day, I used to be single. And I remember my mom was always pushing me to get married. She'd be like, Nancy, marry a nice Jewish boy. Come on, get married already. Nancy, what's wrong with you? So anyway, so I was minding my own business, walking down the street, and this homeless guy comes up to me and he says, yo, bitch, nice ass. And I said, why, thanks very much. Nice tooth. Just hear my mom in the background. Shh, Nancy, don't be so particular. Ask him what he does for a living. Does he make a nice salary? I'm like, Mom, the guy shits in his pants. Oh, big deal. So did your father. My dad was obsessive compulsive. They say it runs in families. Did I say my dad was obsessive compulsive? Okay, I'm just checking. Anyway, some kids inherit money and land from their parents. I inherited the need to check to make sure that the door was locked 5 times every night before I go to bed. I've had OCD for a very long time. Actually, 19,355 days, 7 hours, and 5 minutes to be exact. Back then, they didn't call it OCD. They called it, Nancy, will you please stop being a fucking pain in the ass? And that's my time. Thank you. You've been
Give it up for Miss Nancy Levine. Yes. Yes. Nancy surprises you. You don't know, like, does she want to fight? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, are you calling me out? I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. I love it now. You're so aggressive. And you wouldn't think it. You wouldn't think it. The first time I met you was Broadway Comedy Club.
Yeah.
When you got on
I think I come across more aggressive on Zoom than I do on the stage.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still an aggressive bitch, Nancy.
Definitely more aggressive. Yeah, definitely more aggressive.
On Zoom.
You took me away with that whole rap. I was like, who is this woman?
I haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, that was a good fucking rap. That was a good rap. You're like my spirit animal. But it's true that they're making kids very different now. Very different now. It is. My children are learning firsthand about kindness and feelings and communication. Like, what? I couldn't say that shit back in the day in my house. Are you nuts? My mother would be like, what? That's going to hold you back in life. It's not going to get you anywhere. But I could talk about that for hours. Like, I'm sure we all could. All right, you guys. It's time to welcome the next comedian to the stage. She is the host of Boo Ha Ha Podcast and the producer of We Are Trans, which runs monthly, and the panel she does. Please put your hands together for Miss Sammy James.
Hey, everybody. So, I'm really happy. It finally happened. I got a haircut. Oh my God. Oh, I was so happy, but I was nervous. I'll be honest, haircuts, I haven't had good luck with these in the past, even before the pandemic. It's always been just a nerve-wracking experience. Luckily, the girl put me right at ease by just staring at me for a while before finally saying, "Oh, basketball?" So I was like, "No, my name is Sammy." Oh, and no, I don't play basketball. So she paused. She stared at me again for a while before finally saying, "Oh, why are you tall then?" Now you know I'm tall. And I completely understand where she's coming from, because just like my being a queer and trans person, my height was a complete choice. Okay, it's my fault. I spent my childhood just stretching stretching. Oh, one day, if I play my cards right, I am going to have an awkward conversation in a salon. I do have to just bring one thing up because I spent a year and a half with much longer hair than I am accustomed to. I know a lot of us did, but this is a serious question for people with long enough hair. Where the hell do hair ties go? Where did they go? Who are these gnomes who like sneak into my home and they steal the hair ties? And this was not planned, but I was going to. It's just the thought came to me. They're like, oh, there's a hair tie next to me. I reached for it to like shake it in anger, and it is gone. Like I'm like, this is not even. I'm moving on. I have done something else in preparation for the world opening up again. I bought pants and shoes. Yeah. Clothes shopping has also always been weird and nerve-wracking for me. Especially after an entire year where I didn't really wear much in the way of pants or shoes. But I looked at my clothes and I'm like, okay, sweatpants, pajama pants, underwear. I need like one other option. Like none of these are okay for an in-person wedding. Like it's just and the thing is like shoes, I have spent the past year in a pair. I go out to walk my dogs and to go to the grocery store, and I do this in a pair of sneakers that my feet literally poke out of. So I've had to fix that. And also I mentioned pajama pants. I finally had to buy a new pair of those because for the past couple weeks, they don't have the pair I've been wearing, they don't have an ass anymore. It's just like I refuse to believe I'm the only person. I'm not going to call any of you out, but I know you're there. I know that you are out there. I am not alone. I mentioned being trans. I am actually a butch trans woman, and some of you are confused. If you are, I'd like you to know you're not alone. I remember years ago, my mom sat me down and she said, Sammy, when you were growing up, we were prepared for gay. Yeah, we were ready for woman. But we just were never prepared for butch lesbian. And I said, Mom, I understand what you're saying. And it's actually okay. I am bisexual. So that's what I say for other people, but that's not how I identify. I am attracted to people of all genders, but this is just a wild coincidence. Because what I am is not bi or pan or queer, but just attracted to tiny, adorable people, no matter what their gender is. In fact, the first person I ever dated was 4'11". Yeah, a lot of couples will hold hands or cuddle. No, our thing was piggyback rides. Oh my God, they gave the nicest piggyback ride. I've been taking self-care very seriously the past year. Why? But part of it is I meditate regularly. I don't know if any of you do this, but I've found some real benefits for myself. It helps me feel less anxious. It removes tension from my body. The only problem is I have come to find out that meditation removes all of the tension from my whole body. Everywhere. Okay, what I'm saying is I fart when I meditate. And I'm pretty sure that when I can be around people again, group meditation will not be the place for me. Another part of my self-care is I've been self-medicating. I do have a drug of choice. It's a little different than other people. I know it's a little weird. Some people have marijuana and alcohol. I have herbal tea. I know. Just hear me out. Hear me out. I know the other two make more sense to you, but have you tried lavender? Lavender fucks me up. Some people, it goes much further than this. Some people have a weed guy. I have a tea guy. He's just a friend who, when I see him, he gives me herbal tea that he found. He didn't like find it on the street. So this is a real conversation. Last time I saw him before we all went into quarantine, we were out with friends, and he says, "Hey, before we go in there with everyone else, can you want to come out to my car? I have a really nice lemongrass mixture I think you'll really like, and I'm trying to unload." Yeah, how do I not call him my tea dealer? Is what I'm saying. So I will end with this. I remember the last two things I did before the pandemic were I did a comedy show. It was a burlesque themed comedy and burlesque show. I was the comedian. And then the next day I went to my regular D&D event. So I was hanging out in two very different types of dungeon. And I've come to the conclusion that what I need is a community that combines the two. Okay, just follow me on this magical journey. B, D, and DSM. Well, unfortunately, you have been captured in the castle. Please roll this D20 to see if Sammy James the half-elf is going to cane you. And I'm ending it there.
Give it up for Sammy James. The applause just, I gotta fade it out. I'll do my best. Oh man, does anybody want to rip off of Sammy? Come on,
Pants are tyranny.
The dealer didn't do it for you.
Pants are tyranny.
They really, it's.
I mean, I also got my haircut, Sammy, but Sarah, like you, I know the value of private time when you've been partnered the whole time in quarantine. So before I left, I told my spouse, make sure you masturbate while I'm gone. Like, please don't forget. That should rise to the top of your list.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
True.
Thoughtful.
I'm a considerate partner. What can I say?
Thoughtful.
That is very thoughtful. It is. Wish someone would leave me that kind of note. And I gotta agree with you, Sammy. Yeah, the fucking hair ties. I don't know where they go, but I swear to God, what always happens though, I'll find them. I'll find like 25 together on like a weird shampoo bot, like where I find them sometimes. And especially when I can't find them, I am a raging lunatic because I know we have.
So I actually did find one. Here's the thing. I didn't know I owned white ones. Where did this one come from? I lost the one I actually wanted, but I found, I don't know.
I told my daughter that too. My daughter has very long hair. I told her, like, little life lessons. I was like, I swear to God, you'll always find a hair tie. Like, there's always somewhere to make a hair tie, or a woman always drops one, or even a man who has a bun on his head. Like, people drop scrunchies, and we don't realize how much we're doing this. Like, and that's a little fun fact, fun fact. All right, you guys. I forgot my mic. Hey, here it is. We're all professionals here. It's fine. All right, you guys. It's time for the final comedian of our Tuesday nights. She is the creator and the co-host of the hit podcast, Diking Out, and you can find that on all of the podcast platforms. Please welcome to the stage, Miss Carolyn Bercier.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. What a time. I didn't want to have any expectations about what things would be like when the world started opening up again. But I really did think that once I started interacting with other humans in person, our conversations would be slightly more interesting than which pharmaceutical brand of vaccine did you get? Okay. Like, you haven't seen me for over a year. Why aren't you asking about why I grew out my armpit hair? Right? Like, why aren't you asking about who in my life survived but I consider dead to me? Right? It's a growing list. You wouldn't believe it. But no, your burning question is, which one did you get when there are only a few choices? And it's like probably not the same one as you, because I didn't get the side effect of boring. You're boring me. I don't want to talk about this. It's all I see everywhere is pharmaceutical names. All right. I am gay. Or as my grandma puts it, I've been living with my friend Jackie for way too long. I wrote that joke when I was still married to Jackie, and when my grandma was still alive, but I thought something in the mix should survive, and I picked the joke. So my grandma, she died before all the stuff going on right now. She had Alzheimer's, and toward the end, whenever I would visit, she would ask me if I could kill her, and her short-term memory was shot, so she would ask me over and over again, and I was like, I'm trying to, but you keep interrupting me, Grandma. So then I have to like lower the pillow and start all over again. It was like a whole thing. A lot of people, I don't know if anyone watching has experience with a loved one who has Alzheimer's, but a lot of people are afraid that that loved one is going to forget their name. And not me. I was afraid that my grandma would remember the N-word. That was my big thing. I got my whole life without hearing it, and I'm like, this doesn't need to come out at the end. Luckily, it worked. She was good. Had flashcards of all the nurses' names. Okay. Back to the gay stuff, right? Some people they don't realize that I'm a lesbian when they first meet me, probably because most days I leave my strap on at home, and I know they think this. They think I'm straight because they ask me questions you would only ask a straight woman, like do you have a boyfriend, or do you watch The Bachelor? Swallow, and I'm like, ew. I would never watch The Bachelor. That's not for me. Okay. No, men, they have a hard time reading me. A lot of straight men, when they find out I'm a lesbian, they just assume that I hate them. Which isn't fair, because I don't have to hate men to wish they didn't exist, like I'm thrilled that dragons don't exist, not because I hate them, because they're fucking destructive, right? Just go away. Now, like, how can I hate straight men when their wives make up a third of my dating pool? Like, that's a blessing. No, it's not just men. I find that a lot of people have troubles relating to lesbians. They don't know how to talk to us, which is fair because we are not relatable, right? Like we're a bunch of women who collectively decided that our style icons would be 13-year-old boys and Guy Fieri. Like we're either aggressively vegan or we eat meat like we're trying to prove something. The only two options, and don't mix it up. People will be wildly offended. Sometimes people do get nervous though. They feel like they have to relate to it. They get caught off guard and they're like, oh, a lesbian. Well, this one time in college, I got drunk with my friend Patty and we started fooling around. And I'm like, okay, stop right there. I don't want to hear anything else about you and your friend Patty, Mom. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. It's a weird instinct to do that, right? To try to relate to someone based on their sexuality. Like I meet straight people all the time and I'm never like, a straight person. That's so crazy. This one time in college, I was boring. Wasn't for me. No, I'm just kidding. Straight people, you guys aren't boring unless you're talking about like vaccine brands. I don't know. You keep it exciting. You have like pregnancy scares, right? You have like questionable paternity claims. Like I don't have to deal with that. Like for me, plan B is just like ripping up adoption papers. Like I've never had to buy. It's all super. It's always plan A. It's always plan A for us. Going back to my mom. My mom is she's on Twitter and her handle is her Netflix password. So there's that. It's probably her password for everything else. You can try to figure it out. I'm afraid. This makes me nervous because I'm like, the older she gets, the more likely she is to get scammed, by someone who's not me. And I want to make sure I'm in there first to clean her out. No, she doesn't have much. She has like a collection of creepy dolls. And she's like, you can have my dolls, your sister doesn't want them. I'm like, shocking. That's these aren't like regular, like whatever you're thinking when I say creepy dolls, you're wrong. You're wrong. It's not that. It's these like these carved terracotta figures of elderly French peasants that are around her house. They're surrounding her dining room and they just watch you eat. And this is my inheritance. So if you're wondering how my relationship with my mom is, it's a little strained. I have some resentment. She should have planned better. Okay. Things are opening up. We all know this. I'm already burnt out. I don't know how I'm going to deal with this, with it going back into society. I'm burnt out. Last year around this time, I was out at a lot of protests. This time I'm laying a little bit low. Not because I no longer support the causes. I do. I'm just sick of running into my ex-wife. That's the problem. Lesbians love a good march. That's why we wear the sensible shoes. Right? Like if you're not running into an ex at a protest, are you queer? No, probably not. The first time it happened to me, it caught me off guard though, because she was like directly behind me and I turned around and I was like, oh my gosh, this is stressful. And I was chanting, I'm like, Black Lives Matter. And then also like, tell your mom not to listen to me talk about our divorce on podcasts if it upsets her. And I got it all on the sign, you guys. And it worked. Big sign. What else? You've probably all heard about all of the people who have fled New York during the past year, right? Those people, I gotta say, they were never real New Yorkers. There's a lot of debate who's a real New Yorker. Not these people, right? They're the kind of wimps who like they cover their ears when a siren passes, or they're like covering their nose when they're walking by a pile of garbage. They don't eat outside at restaurants because they don't like how close the people on the sidewalk get to their food. They're Capricorns whose moons are in Taurus. They're me. I fled. I no longer live in the city. We moved upstate into a fixer upper. It's my wife's type, and fun story. We were looking at the old permits on the house and realized that in the 80s, the house I live in now was owned by another lesbian couple. Isn't that crazy? And I knew it was lesbians because it was two women with different last names. But even more than that, it was because their first names were Dolores and Anita. And like the only possible relationship between a Dolores and an Anita is one that involves sensual fingering. That's it. Can't. That's the only explanation. My wife, she feels like since we've moved that I've been neglecting her. So she decided to get a hamster to fill the void. So a nocturnal rodent is apparently providing her with something that I can't. I got really annoyed the other day though because she's really attached to this hamster and she referred to the hamster as my daughter. And I was like, please don't call her that. She's not my daughter. I would never plot to kill my daughter, you know. That's okay. We had to buy a new toilet. We had to buy a lot of new things for the house, but we bought a new toilet and I decided to get one with a double flush, you know, the toilets with the two buttons, the small one for pee, the big one for miscarriages. And yeah, I got the fancy toilet. I got a fancy toilet seat with a built-in bidet. Have you ever used one of those? The bidet toilets? Yeah. I think it's trying to get me pregnant. I've never had sex with a guy, so this is my best guess as to how it works. The bidet it can aim at different areas. It's another thing that seems to be doing things for my wife that I've been too busy for, if you know what I mean. And that's clean her butt. Who has time for that? Okay, that's a dumb joke. Maybe it's good that people only want to talk to me about vaccines. Is that my time? I don't know.
Yeah, no, you still got two.
Oh wow. I don't know if anybody wants to hear from me anymore. I mean, I guess it's I mentioned my ex-wife. Now I'm married again. I got married very soon after my divorce because we fought really hard for the right to get married, and I feel like you should do it as often as possible. Like when women got the right to vote, they didn't do it once and never again, right? So if you're gay, I think get married often. And my current wife, she disagrees with this. She's not a fan of that point of view. She also hates that I call her my current wife. Okay, I'll end there. You guys are great. Showing up on a Tuesday night. Thank you so much. I'm Carol Bear.
Put up for Miss Karen Berthian. Yes. That was fade out. There's no difference. There's no difference. You know, I gotta say, yeah, I love those freaking toilets. Love those toilets. The first time I ever experienced one, though, I was on a silent retreat. This was like years ago, like 20 years ago. I was on a silent retreat. And I walked into the room and I saw that the bathroom had that and I had no idea what it was. And then I figured out what it was. And then, I was a nasty little girl.
Hell yeah.
I was like, I need one of these. I don't know what this is, but I need it.
We have this contractor, and every time he shows up, he asks to use our toilet, and I'm like, I think I just want to use the bidet. But like more upsetting, he phrases it as, "Do you mind if I come inside and tinkle?" And I'm like, I already thought I was like maximum gay, but hearing you say tinkle every time you come over, it's just over the edge. I'm gonna explode.
Yeah. I am triggered. Okay, I don't understand why you're saying that.
We need to cancel men saying tinkling. Okay.
In every shape and form. Stop. Oh man, that's good. That's good, babe. That was so good. You guys, you were freaking all fantastic. Thank you for spending this Tuesday with us. Follow every single one of these human beings. I have all of their Instagrams running at the bottom of the screen, so definitely check them out. Rewatch. If you do that thing that the kids do, hashtag replay. That's fun. But follow us. Follow us at Hard Headed Comedy. We do Still Standing Monologues once a month, and we do a new fun talk show called Talk It Out Tuesday, which is going to go in real life next month. So, ooh, we got some things happening. Again, you guys, thank you so much, ladies. Thank you. Just thank you. Thank you for spending Tuesday with me and with the unknown. I have no idea who's watching us. Good night, everybody, and thank you.
Thank you.
I got to go with the applause one more time. One more. Here we go. Good night, everybody.